Hello everyone, this is Tim Stenrose with Log Home Liberation. We get a lot of questions asking us what is Log Home Liberation all about? And so I wanted to share a little bit tonight on this video, some of our philosophies, some of what we do to give you a better understanding of what we're all about. To us, Log Home Liberation is all about freedom. And we're talking about freedom on two different levels. One is on the level of debt, and one is on the level of obstacles. Freedom from debt, freedom from obstacles. We're talking about the obstacles that can keep people from building their own log home. And we're going to dig into that a little bit deeper. But let's first go into the topic of debt. The status quo, the normal way of doing things when a person wants to build a log home, is to go out and obtain financing from a bank or from some kind of financial institution. Now, of course, that always also results in what winds up typically being a 30-year mortgage. Some of the advantages to this type of financing is, one, you get your money quickly so that you can build your home quickly. The downside of it is that it's going to take you the next 30 years to pay that off. And so there's a lot of labor from yourself that goes into the building of that home, whether it's physical sweat labor actually building a home, or whether it's labor trying to pay back a mortgage. You're going to put in that labor one way or another. And to my way of thinking, the labor involved in building your own home is actually a much smaller amount in the grander scheme of things than what it takes to go the traditional financing route, where you have to, whatever you do, whether you work a manual job, a job that uses your brain, a job that uses your skills, whatever it is, you're going to invest time and labor for a period covering 30 years to pay back that loan that you built your home with. So that's a huge amount of labor going into your home. On the Log Home Liberation way of doing things, we teach folks to self-finance so that they don't have to go out and obtain a mortgage that's going to tie them down for 25, 30 years, whatever. It's a long time. And so we have some creative ways of helping our students to self-finance their own building project, utilizing the skills that we teach them throughout our training. And so this is a very effective way of getting into your home so that you're free and clear the moment you step into that home. The first time you go in there and cook a meal in your kitchen, the first time you light a fire in your stove, you're living a debt-free lifestyle with freedom involved. There's a lot of freedom involved there. That gives you a lot of choices without that huge load of debt hanging over your head that you have to pay off each and every month. It gives you a lot of options, and I think that's an awesome thing for anyone who's looking at having their own home, especially those who are looking at building their own home. Now, you might be asking me, well, okay, so how do you go about doing that? When we talked about self-financing, one of the other big ideas involved in this is that our building technique in itself is very economical. We teach folks how to build the log home using a short log building technique, and there's some huge pluses involved in that. The typical commercial log home is built with big pieces of equipment. You got log booms and log cranes and yard cranes and big crews of people putting these monster logs together that may weigh a couple thousand pounds, maybe even up to 10,000 pounds. Some of these logs are huge, and that is in itself an obstacle that people have to try to overcome when they think about building their own log home. They say, how the heck am I going to deal with these huge logs? I don't have that kind of equipment. I don't have the money to go out and rent it or lease it or buy it. How am I going to build a structure? Well, we totally bypass that by working with short logs. We're talking logs that are typically about 8 feet in length. So there's something that one or two people can easily handle and build an extremely strong, sound log home. And the folks who have seen what we do really love it, and they fall in love with the technique because it's so easy for pretty much anyone to do. You know, there's no reason why you can't learn these techniques and be able to apply them to build your own log home. So we eliminate a lot of those obstacles. Some of the other obstacles are tools. There's some tools that are involved in building a log home. You may think, there's no way I don't have. That's a lot of money to buy those kind of tools, and I don't even know if I can get my hands on those specialized tools. Well, utilizing the short log technique brings your tool usage down to a minimum. Most of the tools you probably already have, and the ones that you don't have can be obtained very cheaply. So there's another obstacle out of the way. We're all about eliminating obstacles and getting people to the point where they have the skills, where they have the tools, where they have the knowledge to self-finance, to be able to go out there and build their own home and to get it done in a way that ends up in freedom. It ends up in liberation, so that you don't end up a slave to debt. You don't end up owing the man for 30 some years. You can move into your home and truly live, truly enjoy the fruits of your labors, the thing that you have built with your own two hands. And that's a very special feeling. We have someone who's going to join us tonight, a gentleman by the name of Tim Nurk. He's come to us and he is very interested in building his own log home. And we're going to get him on the phone here with us tonight. And he's going to share with us some of his goals, some of what he's looking at doing. And we're going to try to help him gain some clarity on that so he really understands where he's going, what he's up against, and has a more clear path to follow to get there. We're also going to be talking about some of the obstacles that he might be facing, things that are standing in his way, preventing him from building the log home that he wants to build. So we're going to try to help him knock some of those down. So let's see if we can get him on the line.
Hello?
Hello, is this Tim?
Yes, it is.
How are you doing, Tim? This is Tim Stenrose from Log Home Liberation.
I'm doing good.
Great. Thanks for joining us on the call tonight. You know, what we want to do is to just talk to you a little bit about your plans and your desire to build your own log home. And we're going to hopefully help you to gain a little bit of clarity on exactly what you want to do in building your own home. And hopefully help you to overcome some of the obstacles that may be standing in your way. So why don't we get started by having you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm here in Spokane Valley, Washington, and I've had a desire to build my own log home for like about the last 10 years. And I've been searching for information and, searching the web and searching YouTube and searching the library. And I haven't really done anything more than search. But I came across your video on YouTube, the Log Cabin Inspiration video. And it made a lot of sense. And it really appealed to me because it used a different technique than I had heard of, the short log technique.
Excellent. So you've been wanting to build a log home for quite a while now, haven't you?
Yeah, about 10 years. And I actually did, when I first started, I actually did take a weekend seminar on how to build your own log home out of round logs. It was a button pass method of building. It was an informative seminar, but those logs they're really large, they're really big, and they came up with ways to lift them, but I just never really felt comfortable doing it. I'd feel more comfortable if I had a big crew to do it. But with the short log home method, it looks like you can actually build your home with maybe yourself or just one other person. That was very attractive to me.
Absolutely, and we're going to dig into that a little bit deeper. But one of the things that I like to ask folks about is the why. What is the why behind your desire for a log home? What is it that makes them so appealing to you?
Well, when I first started dreaming about a log home, it was actually after I had purchased a $250,000 home, and that sounds like that sounds very counterintuitive. But the reasoning behind it is because you're shelling out all that money for a big down payment, and then having this big mortgage payment. When you really think about people in the past, how did they do it? Well, they built their own homes, and they didn't finance it. They just built it as they had funds to do, and it just seems so smart, especially in these days where the financial situation is not very solid, it's not very steady. So it just seems crazy to. And I got out of that home, by the way. But it just seems crazy to go the 30-year mortgage route. And I know that it's not something that everybody can drop what they're doing and then build a home on their own and then have no mortgage. But it's something you have to plan for it. And so 10 years ago, it got me thinking that hey, maybe there's a better way to do this.
Well, that's great, and I can see that you've put a lot of thought into this already. Um, that's one of the things we try to impress upon our students is that this can be done without getting way in over your head with a mortgage. Now, I'm not totally trying to come down against conventional financing. It's just that, man, if you can avoid that kind of debt load, you are so much better off.
That's true. It is, and I know that not everybody can, get out of their mortgage right away, and for a lot of people, a mortgage is not a bad thing. But for a lot of people that are looking ahead and planning for the future, building your own home, if you can do it without having to finance, seems to have a lot of advantages.
It absolutely does. So let's dig down another layer. What is it specifically that so attracts you to the short log home?
Well, it looks like, I think it all comes down to that it looks like it's something that I can actually do, that I can actually build with my own two hands. I'm sure I could go out and learn how to do framing and do all the construction techniques that you see at today. But when it comes to building a log home, it seems a lot more simple. I don't know if it is or not because I haven't built anything, but it seems like it's a lot more simple and something that's definitely doable and something that you could say, hey, I built this and this is my home.
Yeah, that personal pride that you feel from doing something like this is absolutely amazing. So let's keep going because that why for you is so incredibly important.
Yeah.
It's what keeps you going when things get tough and when things are kind of hard. And it's those times when you really need that why to keep you going. So what are some more motivating factors for you?
I think another motivator would be the finances. I know that it's touted to be a very cost-effective way to build a home, and that that is right up my alley. and also I don't have a family, so I'm single, and so I do not need a big home. I don't need a 3,000 square foot home. Not that even people with families need that big, but something that's maybe 1,000, 1,100, 1,200 square feet would be perfectly big enough for me.
Well, that's an important point you touched on there regarding the size of the log home, because that all plays a huge part in how much money it's going to end up costing you to build. And sometimes you really have to weigh your wants against what your actual needs are.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay, so we've talked a little about the why. So let's move on and take a look at the what. What are some of the specifics that you have in mind for your log home? Do you have some things in mind?
Yes, I do. I do have some specific what. So it would definitely have to be a two-story because I like two-story homes. I know that's probably harder than building one story, more involved, but that would definitely be something that would have to be a two-story. I'm looking to go with a squared log as opposed to a round log. So something like a 6 by 8 by 8.
All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, and that's one of the benefits of this technique is that you have a lot of versatility in the look that you're after, whether that be a round log, a scribe log, or a square log like you have in mind. So we're looking at two stories, squared logs. What else do you have in mind?
Well, I really like windows, so I really want to put a lot of windows on the second level, and I know that probably from an insulation standpoint, that's probably not the best thing to do, but I really like the windows and the view, so I'll probably be spending a little bit of change on windows.
Windows can be a sizable expense, and it's a good place not to try to scrimp because it is very important, and your fuel efficiency or your heating efficiency is going to really play a factor there. So this technique does lend itself very nicely to plans with a lot
Okay.
of windows because of the post and
Okay,
beam
good.
type structure, and so that's going to be good for you. All right, so it sounds like you have a pretty good idea in mind for what you want to build. So let's shift gears a little bit and let's talk about the obstacles. And I'm going to ask you a rather blunt question if you'll allow me to, but it really forces you to take a candid look at your situation. What are the reasons why you feel like you don't already have your log home, Tim? I mean, you've been thinking about it for about 10 years now, you said. So, what do you perceive to be the obstacles that have prevented you or are preventing you from accomplishing that goal?
Um, well, the the immediate answer that comes to mind is that I just purchased a piece of property about 2 months ago, and I heard about your log home building method about I don't know, maybe about 6 months or 8 months ago. So this is all it's all kind of new to me, but now that I do have the land, there's really nothing. There's no obstacle on the way now that would stop me from building a practice shed and then building a home.
Well, that's a great approach to kind of, get your feet wet before you go ahead and dive in. And one of the things we do encourage our students to do is to take the time really to develop the skills that they need before diving right into building a log home right off the get-go. Um, and especially
Right?
if you're short on building funds, why not use some of our liberator tactics to build a nest egg while all the while
Yeah.
you're honing your skills at the same time. Um, earlier you mentioned the obstacle of dealing with huge logs, and that really stops a lot of people from even trying. But with the log home liberation techniques, we've really totally taken that hurdle out of the equation by using short, manageable logs. Because nobody wants to have to wrestle a 2 or 3 thousand pound log if they don't have to.
No, and that's it's just not a matter of just being heavy, but there's also a safety issue because I suppose you could get hurt, carrying around a 6 by 8 by 8 round with a buddy, but when you're talking about moving those big logs with the block and tackle or a crane even, stuff can happen, and I'm 50 years old and I heal slow now, so I think that the short log building technique, it sounds so modular and doable in small increments. So that is it sounds safer to me than building a bigger log home.
Well, that's so very true, and I love that word doable because that's a word that I find myself using quite frequently when I'm talking about building with short logs. Because believing that you can actually do this is so vitally important to you actually getting it done. You have to believe that you can do it, and so doable is something that's a trait that you're going to want to have a handle on because it
Yeah.
is important. So, what about the financial aspect of building? I know that's an obstacle for a lot of people.
Well, you have to budget for all the, like I said, the windows, and you got to budget for a roof, and you have to budget for the logs themselves. And I've started to make calls into sawmills to get an idea of how much the logs are going to cost. So, windows, doors, all the material costs can definitely add up. It seems like a lot cheaper way to do it than like say other methods, but still there is a cost, and you have to consider that and budget for that.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It's important to take a realistic look at what things are really going to cost you, and that's one of the things that we're going to be helping you out with.
Well, good. I'm looking forward to this.
And we've also got some great techniques for sourcing logs for your home at very low cost. So this is going to be a whole lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to working with you to help you to make your log home dream a reality.
Well, Tim, thank you, and thank you for making this short log home technique available. And I'm really looking forward to learning how to build a log home.
Great. So thank you again for
Oh,
sharing with everyone, and we'll be talking with you again real soon.
all right, Tim. You take care. Bye bye.
Okay, you have a good night. So if you're listening in and you'd like to learn more about building with short logs and about our training program, you can do so by visiting our website at loghomeliberation.com. Until next time, this is Tim Stenrose saying good night to all.